How's everybody doing? I want to talk today because I've seen there's a couple of friends that I have. There's a couple people I know that have been going through a rough time, especially through all this, through the quarantine. But in the fact that they're having through all this moment, they're having a really big downfall in a relationship. I've seen and I've heard and I just saw some people that it's really taken a huge toll on them, and that's very painful. Relationships, love, that is extremely painful. Breakup. When you're going through the relationship, when you first start off, everything is nice, everything is, uh, things are fun, things are enjoyable. Things like that start in the beginning process, start to grow, and it feels amazing. As weeks go by, sometimes there's a couple arguments, little downfalls, disagreements, and that type of stuff can really start to hurt because that's in the beginning stage where you're starting to pick up certain things. And at that moment, it's one of those things like, do I continue going or is it able to be corrected? When I mean corrected, like, how are you doing it? Are you communicating properly? And when you get into an argument with your significant other, that there's ways to handle that. I can tell you that screaming, yelling, that's not one of the ways. Um, when you're talking to somebody that is not your significant other and you're just having a more of a basic conversation with them, you're very calm, you're very polite. I know that's not everybody. Some people just don't really like talking to many people, and that's perfectly fine. But there's somebody that is not your significant other, that is someone that you would begin to talk to in a polite manner. Well, when things get rough in a relationship, we don't do that polite manner talk. Instead, there's sometimes where we miscommunicate. There's sometimes where we begin to do certain things that our significant other doesn't really like. It's not really used to it. So when they do something, it begins to offend them. And that over time starts to build up. I, from experience, have had the situations where I don't communicate properly and the way I reacted wasn't the proper way. And I know there's some people that have gone through that same situations that when they talk to their significant other, there's something that just either their day's been going rough, maybe work, if they're a stay-at-home parent, or even they've been around with the kids, that accumulates. That is a huge stressor right there. Being at home with the kids is a huge amount of work. And I say this because I learned the hard way. See, I was one that would go to work when I was with my ex. That's something that I would go to work. She would be at home with the kids. She'd clean. She'd give them food. Take care of the kids. Cleaning constantly. And when I would come home, no lie, the house would be a slight mess. Not that bad, but I didn't realize that she had already cleaned the house maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times because the kids kept messing it up. And instead, I'd be like, man, did you do anything? Like, I'm exhausted. Not realizing that it's exhausting to be at home as well too. The people that have kids, if you're one of the people, especially men, I will say that men, we sometimes tend to have such a hard head. Not all. There's some that are very genuine, they're very compassionate, but there's a few of them that that really mess it up. And when you go into a relationship and you have kids and come home from work and you're exhausted, yeah, there's little things that can trigger it off. If you don't, what they say, if you don't let go of your work, if you don't leave work at work and come home and stay with that clear mind, understand that those moments when you step into the house, if you bring work life back into your home and you've been stressed, it will affect. And that is where a lot of the stuff begins to unravel. For example, for me, when I was able to notice the day that I had to experience being at home with my kids and realizing by myself how much work it actually is to be at home with kids, that was a total mind changer. And then I realized, wow, like a stay at home mom, it does as much work, if not more, than somebody that's going out to work. And you might say, okay, but they're not lifting stuff, they're not getting dirty. Okay, we have babies, there's a lot of diapers, there is food, there's constantly cleaning. And so there are certain guys that they want that, they expect that. They say, okay, well, you're at home, you're with the kids, you know, I expect you to make me food, and I expect the house to be clean, and, you know, but when they come, it's like, it's time to chill. And sometimes it happens the other way around. It doesn't always happen that way where it's the guys always coming home, but most of the time. And that right there is one of the things that for some women, it begins to take a toll. And it's sad because for some guys, it takes a while for them to ever realize that. Sometimes they're going months, years, sometimes they never get to even find out that they were the ones that were causing the relationship to go downhill. It's the simple little things like that. So what do you do? Well, there's communication, and you have to understand that you're human and they're human too. Your significant other is a human as well. They have feelings. So what that means is it's not always about yourself. If you're with somebody, it's because you want to unite, you want to be together, and you know, yeah, you want to have your own space, you want to have your own time, but you know, if you're living together, there's things that, in my mind, there is things that you should work together. You know, housework, for me, it's, at first I was the type of person like, okay, I'm at work, the person that's at home, I'm clean, but now it's like, no. So you can be at home and you're doing so much, but as soon as your significant other comes home, they want that relief. They've already been exhausted. They also want a break. When's their break? There's some of the times that, you know, they don't ever get a chance to even relax. They don't get a time to even get to sit down. It's just constantly go, 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 go. But you're at work, you get lunch break, you get to relax, you get to talk to customers, and whatever it may be. And that is one of the things that we sometimes don't see until we get put into that situation. So what happens? Then over that time, that relationship starts to go downhill. It goes down, 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 and to a point, and I say this because a lot of times it's the women that leave, and the guys want to put that blame on them. And I understand you're hurt. You didn't understand because you maybe didn't have your eyes open to see what was going on. But it wasn't just a one day to the next. A lot of the times what happened, it's been a continuous months, weeks, sometimes years. And they just been getting exhausted and tired out. So what do? They put up with it for so long until all of a sudden they break. Just put this into my perspective. Take a glass and start tapping it with a hammer. You don't have to smash it. You don't have to go hard. Just lightly tap it. Eventually it's going to start on the same spot. It's going to start to crack or maybe shatter. That's the same way a person's heart can be. They can take so much. Yeah, there's that love. They have a love for you. You go out, have fun, you go out to drink, you go out to a party, you go out to a restaurant, you have your own time. But still, when there is more of a bad effect, there's more problems, there's more stress than there is happiness, that's where it starts to weigh off. And that's where a relationship starts to fall off. And I'm not saying this just so anybody can be out there and, think that, I am going through like a process of how to make a relationship work out. No, because each person is different. Each relationship is different. There's some people that, like I said, I understand now that for me that if I would have somebody in my life, it's a mutual work when it's at home. But there's some people that still agree, and both of the couples are, the significant others are okay of one person being at home and the other one going to work. That's perfectly fine. Whatever works. The main important thing, though, is to communicate. When you don't have that communication, if it's screaming and yelling, it's not going to work. That constant battle back and forth, it gets irritating. And sometimes all it takes is for you just to have a bad day, and all of a sudden you come home and your significant other starts to blow up on you, and that's it. And you just start saying things that you didn't even mean. It's crazy the amount of things that we say, and we don't really put into perspective of what is actually being said. It's just more easy as it coming out of our mouth, and then next thing you know, you hurt the other person's feelings. And some people, they don't care. They become that selfish. They just don't have a certain care. But if you don't, then why be with somebody? Why affect somebody so badly that it doesn't matter to you? You know, and that's the things that I see more often. I see a lot of people that they feel hurt because their last relationships has been going and they've been failing. Maybe previous ones, and it's a continuous thing that's going on and on and on. And there's some of them that feel like it's their fault. And I will be honest, for some people, maybe you have part in that relationship that there you had a certain thing that was affecting it. It's two roles. It's not always all one person that makes the relationship go downhill. It sometimes takes it's two people that do cause an effect to that. And that's where you have to realize. So if you're in a relationship and that starts going downhill, and you take that split, say, all right, I'm done, I'm gone, I'm not going to be here no more. What do you do then? Some people, they've already been exhausted from a relationship that they move on in an immediate mindset. And I will say that before, I used to have the mentality of thinking that, okay, if you move on, as soon as you get off from a relationship, like you obviously didn't care, you didn't love them. But then I realized that that wasn't the point. See, some of the time somebody has already been done with the relationship for months, maybe a couple years already. So when they jumped into a new relationship, they've already been done. Like, they just stayed there. Their physical body stayed, but their heart, their emotions, all that has already been done and been gone. So when they jump into a new relationship, you sometimes see that they're happy. And that's not bad. The bad part is when you get from one relationship, when you're done with one and you jump to another and you haven't healed. That is where the problem begins. Because then all of a sudden, everything you had in your last relationship that affected you, that you still maybe, miscommunicated. There are certain things that really bothered you, and you never really talked to them. You just kind of like blew them off, and all of a sudden you blow up on the next person that you're with. It's gonna continue and redo again. Not all the time. Sometimes it doesn't. But what I'm saying though, it's that continuous battle. So what do you do? How do you heal from a relationship, especially in ones that's been a physical? That's very tough. That right there is something that can hurt deeply. Your physical body, yeah, it can hurt. It can be something that's painful. But over time, you will heal. But how do you heal a broken heart where you can't put a band-aid on? How do you heal a broken heart where you can't go to the doctors and say, I just came out of a relationship. Can I get this medicine to heal my heart up so I can jump into another relationship properly? It doesn't work that way. You have to heal yourself. And in those cases, it's hard because you kind of have to understand what was going on. You have to reflect, and you have to see it in a whole different way. Just really sit down, like, what was going wrong in that relationship? What could have been better? And sometimes, you can fix it, work it out, and get back with that person. In other situations, you can't. But you don't want to make that past relationship jump into a new one. Because if the next person is a person that really is 10 times better than your last, but then you take all that hurt that you had before and bring it into that new relationship, you can basically jeopardize that relationship you have. It's something that takes time to heal, and in some cases, there's some people that are able to go from one relationship to another because they've already been healing in the process. Time does not matter as far as how long should you wait to go into another relationship. There's some people that can heal pretty quickly. There's others that can take a couple years. I know for my experience that it took a bit. It took a lot of understanding of what I did personally wrong and how I had to correct it. You see, and that's one of the things that you have to understand, that it's not about what did they do wrong. They hurt me, they said this, they said that. Okay, they said that. That is true. But what made that happen? If through the whole relationship you never did nothing wrong, okay, I'm excluding you out of this. But if you were in this relationship and all of a sudden something made you irritated. Let's say that you came home and let's say you seen the dishes weren't done. So the first thing you do is you're like, hey, you didn't do the dishes. Like, what's wrong? Like, I told you to do the dishes. And the way you say it, your tone, has a huge effect on how that person's going to react. If the other person is a person that's calm and can take the way you speak and not let it get over their head, it's fine. If it doesn't affect them, okay, they're going to figure out a way to keep you calm. But if it's the other way around, where you say something and it triggers a wrong feeling in them and they blow up, then an argument begins. Then all of a sudden, certain things start popping back and forth. It's like being in a fist fight in a ring, but you're saying it with words. Someone's going to get knocked out by a word. Someone's going to say something so badly it's going to hurt them that they don't want to speak to each other for a day. Maybe they don't even want to sleep in the same room. Over what? Over dishes? I know that it's sometimes very huge. That's for some people that's a pet peeve. For someone to have OCD, I understand that completely. But you still have to have an open mind, because those type of things are some of the things that affect in a deeper way. So what do you do there? In some situations like that, it's when you talk to them, be calm about it, no matter how frustrating it is. Sometimes we hear the words, take a deep breath, count to 10, and then speak. That sometimes works for some people. For some people, it does not. For me, it has worked. To just keep calm and understand that, okay, they're human. That what do you know of how their day was going? If you know every second what they were doing throughout that day, okay. But even for a couple seconds, if there's something that happened, something that they were doing, there's kids, that's a huge thing right there. Those are the type of things you just have to understand. Like, there's probably something else that happened. It doesn't take that long to get distracted. It doesn't take that long for something else to keep you occupied. It doesn't take that long for your direction to go into something else. The other thing is, you focus on one thing. You focus on those dishes that they weren't done. The whole rest of the house was done nicely, but those dishes weren't. And those are the one thing you asked to be done, and they weren't done. I understand. You told them that's the one thing you wanted done first. One thing you wanted done, but it wasn't. But the whole rest of the house was. And that sometimes, depending on the person, can have a huge effect. Because, for instance, if I would have been the one to clean the whole house and I got told, hey, but you didn't do the dishes, so what the heck did you do? You just sat there on your butt and not do nothing? No, but look, I cleaned the whole house. Nah, that doesn't matter. See, that's what happens sometimes. And to the person that did all the work, they just feel unappreciated that they just did all that. They got exhausted doing everything. And some of the ladies will understand and may agree with that, because sometimes a significant other might come home and that might happen. And that's something that maybe in one relationship it happened, and it began to get irritating that they weren't appreciated for some of the things. Now, some of the men began to do some of those things as well, and began to do things that helping out around the house, helping with the kids, doing things that significant other asked them to, but they weren't appreciated for it. Appreciation is one of the things that for many people they take in. I know for me, that's something that I hold dearly. Like, if you appreciate something I do, you know, you give me more motivation. But if you don't, you know, you can really drop me down. And that's how it is in some people's relationships. So we go back to the question, how do you heal from that? How do you heal from those types of situations when you dropped out of that relationship? Well, if you take your time and you decide you're not going to get in a relationship, that's one of the things that, you know, yeah, enjoy yourself, have fun, but also try to reflect. For me, when I went through that moment, I had to understand what I did wrong. I came across a group that actually taught me that there's four things that you focus on. And they called it PIES, which stands for your physical, your intellectual, your emotional, and your spiritual. So some of the people, they have a lot of things going on, and they haven't really, you know, been working out as much as they wanted to, or they've been wanting to go on a walk and they haven't gone on a walk. They used to love to go on a bike ride, and they haven't so long because they're so busy. That is a time where you make your body just get active. Have yourself go out for a walk, go outside. Just, you know, if you like gardening, go out there again. If you enjoy to, you know, just working out, going to the gym, even at home, do something that makes you get active. So you start feeling some sort of appreciation for yourself. That is where it's more important. It's for yourself. Love yourself. Be happy with yourself. Intellectual. So you want to get, you know, I'm not saying to go out there and be the smartest person in the world, but go out there and learn something new. Something that's going to make your mind just get creative. You know, open up a book. Just even reading a book. It doesn't have to be something that you've never done before. So it's like just going to a library, going to a bookstore, or jumping on a blog, just reading something, articles, the newspaper. You know, just read. Learn something from it. You know, those are some of the things that it really begins to inspire your mind to just see things differently. And emotional. So the emotional one can sometimes be tough for certain people. For me, that was one of my difficult ones. But what it is understanding what your feelings are and how you react to them. How do you react with those feelings? So when somebody says something to you, do you jump immediately and start to get offensive? You know, do you not like anybody saying certain things to you? Does it just irritate you? If that is the case, that is where you want to work on. And I understand that there's some people just aren't social. They just don't like to be around people. I understand that. But at the same time, you don't want to just have this vibe where, you know, anybody that comes close to you, like you're always mad, you're always angry, that you just don't give out some sort of calm energy. You don't have to give a huge positive energy if you don't like being people always around you, but at least have a calm vibe. So what do you do in that sense? It's watching how you react to things. You know, I will say, and I remember growing up, it was always taught for me in my culture that a man doesn't cry. A man is the toughest. A man is the one that should be never crying, never let any of those emotions, never show no emotion. And I will tell you that that's a lie. Why? Because every person you look around, there's a human. You have tears, you have feelings, you get, you know, there's certain things. If there's someone that you truly love and they pass away, you know, tell me you're not going to cry. If you don't, did they really mean anything to you then? And I know some people, they hold that but internally they feel so sad. You have feelings that they're kicking in. You're just not letting them out. And it's okay. I'm not saying go out to the world and, show that you're crying. Give yourself some time. Let yourself just break down. Just let it all out. Especially after coming out from a relationship, it's difficult. That is something that you're in a relationship and you start trying to move on, and 2 months later you start remembering about certain things that happened, either fun times, sad times, really horrible moments. Just let it out. If those memories bring tears, it's okay. That's not a bad thing. The other is the spiritual side. So, in the spiritual side, some people, they have a meditation. For me, church was one of my ways that I got close. And I will tell you that if you're religious, you will understand. But for me, and just to give a brief on it, I went 3 years without going to church. Went 3 years without praying. And the day that, for me, things started getting rough, that was the one place that I didn't expect I was going to be ending up in. I didn't know who else to turn to. There was nobody that was right there by me. And that sometimes happens where your friends, sometimes your family, they don't even know what's going on, but sometimes they do, and they just make things a lot worse. So there's not really anybody that's there to help you out. So who do you turn to? Like I said, for me, someone that I had turned to was into my religion. It just kind of sparked into that moment, and I was just like, okay, this is some feeling that I'm having that I want to go to. Now, if you're not religious, that doesn't mean that obviously I'm going to try to make you go that direction. No, there's ways, and I know some people, they know, some people that they actually meditate, they just relax, they just have their own alone time, no music, no technology, no nothing. They just sit back and just try to relax. And that is something that is huge. That is something that helps. Those are some of the 4 things that help me out. And those are some of the things that you can take with you. Because in those hard moments, the last thing you want to do is take anything from the past relationship into a whole nother relationship. You don't want to go from that moment of it being so tough, so hard, and take it into a new relationship. A lot of times when you go into a new relationship, you want things to be better. You want things to be happier. And they can be. And sometimes that's where it starts off. You jump into a new relationship and everything is really great. Like, this feels like it's the right person. This feels all great. But then all of a sudden, something from the past kicks right into your mind and triggers old memories again. Now, the new person that you're with doesn't even know what's going on, because maybe you might have not communicated, and they're wondering, they're lost, and then things start to unravel that way. I've came across different songs that had meaning with this. I've read different things that had that topics related to that, and it's something that happens pretty commonly, where you take your past relationship in with your new one. And I will say that that's probably one of the most difficult, because if you're in that relationship and you're the one that sees it as like, oh, this is going to be great, and you see that significant other start to just like drop, like their feelings and their emotions, their loves, it starts to change, and you're confused, you don't understand why, and then you're just like, you know what, I'm not even going to go with this. It's not something I want. Come to find out, it was just they were going through a hard time, going through that hard moment. And that's all depends on you guys. I can't say, I'm not no counselor, I'm not no family, marriage therapist. It's all on you guys of how you handle it, but understand that it starts with you. It starts from your healing. It also starts from understanding what you want to make you happy. I learned because for the longest time in my life, since I was a child, kept trying to chase happiness. And for some people, they understand that. Some don't. Like, how is a child trying to search for happiness if they don't really understand what it is? But there's still some people that are in their 40s and still don't know what happiness is. They're still chasing it. And that is where it's painful. Because the happiness starts with you, it begins with you. If you let certain things bother you and destroy your happiness, that's it. And if you continue to let them, it's going to hurt worse. So when you jump into a relationship, I will say, don't depend on somebody else to make you happy. Because when they're gone, when they break up, whatever case it may be, if you weren't happy, things from that moment, if you were depending on them to make you happy, you'll feel a lot more hurt. And in some cases, that's where a lot of times depression kicks in. That's where the anxiety, and that's where it hurts. But understanding that you're the one that can make yourself happy, you're the one that makes those decisions. Will you let somebody hurt you physically, mentally, emotionally? That is where it'll be. I can't tell you exactly what is the main things that will make you happy. Because for every person, it's different. Some people, happiness can be being at home when they come home from work, seeing their kids. For some people, it's them accomplishing their goals. You set goals for yourself and you start to build up this happiness because each goal you achieve, it just brings you more joy. And I will say that for me, that started to happen. When I was a child, there was a lot of things that I wanted to do. As I started growing up, there's more and more things I wanted to do with my life. As I got older and got out of school, I started realizing that there's things I wanted and I just couldn't do them. Well, now I started doing some of those things. For me, music has just always been a passion. Am I great at it? Nah. Can I get to where I want to be? Of course I can. But it depends how much I motivate myself to go and keep going. How much of that makes me happy? Music has always been part of my life. To me, that's what makes me happy. For some other people, it's drawing. For others, it's making arts and crafts. For some people, being happy is just being around people. Just talking that makes them happy. And for those people, okay, what do you do in a situation like right now where you can't go see people? You're just stuck at home. Well, for instance, you have this. You have live, you have video chat. You can talk on the phone. There's sometimes some of these people have a specific person that they can relate to, that they can talk to. Finding your happiness is where you will achieve the greatest. Because if you're doing something that really makes you happy, the rest of it becomes easier to do. And what I mean by that is, in a relationship, if you are happy when you're going into that relationship and you're communicating and you're talking with your significant other, it becomes easier if both of you are on the same page. If one of you already comes in unhappy and expects the other to put all the effort, it's going to be tough. Can it be done? Yes, it can be done. But it's going to be tough. So if you're going in a relationship, I'm not saying that you have to wait until you're happy. It's not what I'm saying. Just try to take some time to start healing. And sometimes, healing doesn't happen from one day to the next. Don't expect that. Sometimes it takes years. But if you're in that process of going and you're continuing going, you will see a change. And you can look back and start noticing that there's certain things in your life that you used to get irritated by that now you don't. And you also see certain things that you've been achieving and getting greater. And if things start to fall, if things just feel like it's not going well in a relationship, look at those red flags. I don't know how many times I've seen people, they think like, I see a red flag, I see another one, and they just want to continue going. And they already have an idea of how their relationship's going to go. But they decide to continue on. And I'm not talking about red flags where, you had a little minor argument over dishes. No. There's some people that have red flags as far as if you're getting physically abused, right there is something that, to me, I don't like seeing. Um, if it's a continuous battle of you getting downgraded, the words that are coming out of somebody's mouth, if they are really setting you down, that is not right. And if you're the one setting those words, it is time for you to take that mindset and start to change your life. Because that is the things that can hurt other people. And if you don't believe me, wait till the day that it will happen to your child. If you really have that love and care for your children and you start to see that your children are going through that same effect that you are when they get older, that's when you're going to be hitting that point. You understand that now it is not right. But why not teach your kids how, as they're growing up, what is true love? And now, what I mean that is, how are they supposed to get treated? There's a lot of things when it comes to this, and it's one of the topics that to me I hold dearly because of what I've been through in my life. But it's something that I can say when I look back, I'm not proud of myself, but I am proud that I was able to learn and to continue going. What I don't like seeing is the fact that I look at some of these people on Facebook, friends out from my town, when I go to other towns and I've met other people and they say that they're going through a divorce, through a separation, they're going through a bad breakup, whatever the case may be, and they start telling me things that have been happening, and I feel bad because it's like I sometimes wish I could just, because a lot of times what I always hear is always the girls saying, yeah, my man did this and he did this and this is how he treated me, and it's just like, bro, I wish I could just like sit you down and just be able to bring into your head everything that you should know, how to appreciate that person that you have, because that person has been sticking around with you as the person that loves you, and yet they haven't walked away from you yet. But the day that they do, if it doesn't hit you, I feel bad for you. When it hits you, you will realize what you lost. And I know some people understand that sometimes we don't get it until we lose it. But why have to wait that long? Why don't you start changing? There's some relationships that the significant other only wants that. Just start showing me that you're changing. Don't tell me. Don't say, I'm going to change. I'm going to change. And I tell you this because I used to say that. I used to say, I'm going to change. I'm changing. I'm going to do this better. I'm going to do that better. That doesn't do nothing. It's like they say, you can talk it, but can you walk that talk that you're saying? If you can't, then what does it matter? You have to start showing. And in some cases, don't even say that you're changing. Just start changing. But guys, what do? Help around the house. Help out with the kids. Be thankful and appreciate the things that your significant other does for you. And girls, if he attempts, at least give him the acknowledgement. I'm not saying, hey, go all out and be like, oh, you started to change. This is going to work out. You're perfectly fine. I'll take you no matter what. No, that's not what I'm saying. I also understand that you have a guard up. And you put that guard up. Because you don't want to be tricked into thinking that that person is changing and all of a sudden they don't fully change, because now, as soon as you said, okay, I believe you, now they went back to their old ways. Sometimes there's certain guys that are a little hard-headed and they just need that push, and that wall kind of started set up and being like, okay, I have to work hard. And it's crazy because for some people, when they first started to like the other person, especially when it comes to the guys, they were working really hard to have that girl notice them. And then what? And then it all went down. That is what I don't like to see. And I tell you this, all this stuff I'm telling you from experience, because I did that. And that is when you realize the things that you did and you sit back, you're in for a ride. You're in for a ride of your life. That it's been going back and forth of showing you, look what you did wrong. How could you have done this better? And those are the moments where you definitely have to sit back and correct it. Understanding what you did wrong. How will you do to correct that? Once you figure out how you're going to do it, you start to make that change. Once you start to make that change, you continue to do a development in yourself, always improving. Don't sit back and say, just because I changed this little amount, I'm done. No. A relationship takes time. A relationship has a lot of moments that continue to grow. If you take a flower, you can't just expect a flower just to be growing on its own if it doesn't have no water, if it has no sunlight. You have to take care of it. For my example, I always use a rose because to me, a rose has a lot of resemblance to a relationship. You have your thorns, you have the beauty of the petals. But if you take care of it, it can blossom. If you don't, it's going to die. And that's the same way with the relationship. If you take care of your relationship, it can grow into an amazing relationship. If you don't care about it, it's going to go downhill eventually. And some of the times there will be one person when it starts going downhill that is trying so hard to keep that vibe going, keep that relationship going to the top. But when it doesn't, and they're going through all that work, 100%, sometimes 110 to 120% trying to keep that relationship going, it's going to tire them out. You can't go full throttle all the time. Something's going to break. And when they do, that's when they start to quit. And that's when they say, I'm done. I tell you this because I don't want this to happen to more people as a continuous. And right now, being as a lockdown, that's where a lot of people are hurting, because what do you do in a situation like this where you're coming from a breakup, when you're going through a separation? Those are the moments where it's really, really, really tough. And what's even harder is, who do you turn to? Who do you ask? How do you fix your relationship? How do you fix your marriage? And now some of the people I've talked to, and I've told them, I can't fix it for you. I can tell you what I did wrong. I can tell you the things that maybe could work, but that's all on you, because each person is different. Your significant other is different than who I was with. Your relationship is different in the way mine was. So you have to just begin to change for yourself. And from there, see where it goes. If you can't, if you try to correct yourself, like correct what you did wrong, and you can't get back with your significant other, I will tell you that life will continue on. I'm sorry that hurts. I know that's one of the worst pains ever. But in a situation like that, just continue to go. Just continue to move, because life is not going to stop. If you have kids, focus on them. Focus on yourself. And move forward. If you're coming out of a bad relationship where it's been physical, a lot of arguments, and they're, on you, just being really disrespectful, let that go. You don't need that. Yeah, let them see their kids. Let them do all that. If they really want to be part of the kid's life, go for it. That's important. But don't let that bother you. The disrespect will continue. But the same way anybody else disrespects you, you want to flip out, you want to just argue, you want to be ready to throw down, let that go. Why do you need that vibe around you? Those types of things in a relationship are not needed. You will continue to have that. If you keep adding gas into a fire, it's going to keep going bigger. By the time you start letting go of it, that person is eventually going to get exhausted. If they don't, just keep them moving. Eventually, they will. So those are some of the things, like I said, that to me, I don't like to see, is with people when they want to be cruel back. They want to go through a whole new life, but at the same time want to carry their past relationship with them. And some of the times, their last relationship, their last partner, doesn't let go. Then in some cases, they're stalking, they are harassing, and unfortunately, sometimes you just have to do the best to get them away from you. And that's very sad to say, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're safe. That's one of the important things as well too. If someone's constantly bothering you or they're being, you know, harassing you at your house, at your work, you feel scared to go anywhere. Those are some of the things that shouldn't happen. And I know for some people they're like, well, I'll just handle it myself. It's all good and all until it bites you back. So in some of those situations, just if you have to go to police, you have to do, put a police report. So be it. And for the people that just can't let go, you feel like you just want to have them back. I've been there. I understand that. It hurts. It's painful. But in that way, by harassing them, you're not going to win. If you really want to try to get them back, if you really want to work hard in getting that person back that you loved, it starts with you. Change. Start to do things better. If it happens and you guys cross paths again, then so be it. If you don't, still continue to better yourself because there is somebody out there for you. If you don't want to get in a relationship, that's perfectly fine. If you do, just wait your time and it will happen. If you go out there looking and just go with whoever, who knows? You might find the person, you might not. But if you haven't healed, that's where it's going to hurt the most. And that's where I don't like to see people, is that they're not healed properly and they jeopardize a relationship that they would have probably had a great one with. Now, I don't say this to down anybody. I'm not making this video, this live, just to bring anybody down. The saying that, you're the one messing up, or going to your significant other, see, this is what you haven't been doing. I'm like, no, that's not the case. It's more the fact that I just want people to be happy, to heal. More importantly, if you have kids, teach them. Teach them what a healthy relationship is. That's important because the kids are what are looking at you. And in some places, in some some homes that it's not, kids don't even know what's going on. That's great. But the ones that are, the kids see that, mom or dad just is arguing back with their mother or their father, that's where it hurts because they don't understand what's going on. If we keep disrespecting the dad, disrespecting the mom, that's not gonna work out either. Sometimes some of these kids, they start getting that mentality. But it's all because you haven't healed properly. You just angered out. But as soon as you let that go and you begin to focus on you, learn where your happiness is. From that moment, things can definitely go a better way. If you watch this, if you're watching, ask yourself, have I healed from my last relationship? If you haven't, ask yourself then, how can I heal from my last relationship? What do I need to do? Because those are your decisions. Nobody else can change you. Only you can change yourself. I hope that it's just able to give you a different insight, as far as what goes on in a relationship. These type of things are things that happen daily. This is why a lot of times relationships don't work out, because we still are dealing with things from our past. And sometimes it's even from our past relationships. So make sure that you are healing properly. Make sure that you are ready to be in another relationship. Because if you jeopardize that relationship that could have been that great relationship for you, you'll one day notice that would have been your time. So again, I hope that you're all doing good. I hope that if you haven't coming out from a relationship, that you're healing, If you're going through a breakup, that you're able to continue going, to heal, to be able to keep your head up, find your happiness more importantly, and just move forward. If you get back together, that's great. If you don't let that discourage you. And if you ever need somebody to talk, or just somebody to hear you out, or just even to get an insight, I'm always here to talk to anybody. Do I know exactly? No. But I'm always here to listen out. And I'm always here just to let you know about what I've been through in my life to make sure that you don't make the same errors as I did. So I hope everybody has a good night.